Hello, I will be discussing the work of Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom, war, and the crafts. Athena was, at most, the wisest, most brave, and certainly the most resourceful of the Olympian gods. The Greek goddess was born fully armed from the forehead of her father Zeus. He was told that his son would take his throne from him, just as he had taken power from his father Cronus. And according to one story, this is because he swallowed her mother, Metis, while she was pregnant with Athena. Goddess Athena's gift to the Greeks was the useful olive tree, which is a symbol of peace and plenty. Objects associated with the goddess include an owl, which is a symbol of wisdom, and the olive tree. If you will take a look at this first piece, she is depicted in this art with armor, a helmet, a shield, and powerfully holding a spear. Her armor is said to be made from the skin of a giant and is laced with tassels of gold. The most famous representation of Athena in the ancient world was expectedly the most extraordinary gold and ivory statue of the goddess by Phidias. This amazing statue was to reside in the Parthenon of Athens and was over 12 meters high. The statue has been lost, but continues to still live on in the modern world in the form of smaller Roman copies. If you will follow my descriptions, you will notice that this copy shows Athena standing proudly, fully armed, holding Nike in her right hand and a shield in her left. Her shield depicts scenes from the battles of the Amazons and the giants. If you pay close attention to the images on her golden helmet, you see a sphinx and two griffins. Celebrated surviving depictions of Athena included friezes from the Parthenon and metopes from the Temple of Zeus at Olympia. The 5th century BCE temple of the Parthenon, that still continues to take charge of the Acropolis of the city, was built in her honor. The Greeks preferred her gift and named the city after her and built the Parthenon on the Acropolis, where Athena is believed to have produced the first olive tree.
The second work of art we'll be looking at is taken from the Gothic era. The name of the church is Frauenkirche, which in German means Church of Our Lady. This is a Roman Catholic church of the late Gothic style, and it's located in Munich, Bavaria, in the south of Germany. It was built in the 15th century, with the construction starting in 1468 and going until 1488. They lasted about 20 years. It was consecrated in 1494, and the architect was Jörg von Halsbach. It's located in Munich's Old Town, and from the top of the tower you have a great view of the Alps. The Gothic period started in the 12th century in France and then went on to Britain, Italy, and eventually reached Germany. And Germany was specifically related to the late Gothic era, which lasted until the 16th century, right before the Renaissance period started. Gothic art was born out of Romanesque art. Let's begin with a description of the material. As you can see, red bricks were used for the construction. The two towers you see are about 109 meters tall, which is about 350 feet. The two towers were both complete at the same time as the rest of the church complex in 1488 and are about the same height. As you can see at the top of the tower, there is no openwork spires, which was typical of the Gothic art, just because there was a lack of money during the construction time. So instead, in 1524, domes were added. The two domes are of a blue-greenish color and are copied after the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, which explains the rather Byzantine style of the domes, and which is different from the rest of the church, which is Gothic. Even though the styles are different, the image is still typical of the city of Munich. Let's look at the interior of the church. You can see that this is a very big space, and it can hold about 20,000 people. At the top, we see pointed arches, and these are taken from the Islamic art. We also see slender columns, which are typical of Gothic art, and they continue all the way to the roof. There are also ribbed vaults, which give the church its perpendicular Gothic look, typical of the 15th century. We also notice in the back a large window allowing a lot of light to come in. Notice that there is rather simplistic, not many ornaments. And finally, according to the Smart History website, the late Gothic art, after its flourishing period, the architectural style shifted back to the neat straight lines and rational geometry of the classical era. Finally, it is important to note that during World War II, this church was very damaged because of airstrikes. It underwent many reconstructions, and one of the few things that remained intact was, at the entrance, the Devil's Footstep, which in German is called Teufelsschritt. According to the World Heritage Encyclopedia, the legend says that the devil stood there, and he curiously regarded and ridiculed the windowless church that Hatzbach had built.